Good morning, beautiful people of the internet. Just wanted to hop on here this morning before we start our busy day. We have back to school shopping today for our three boys, so we will be headed to Wichita here in a little bit to browse through some clothes and school supplies and all that stuff. Hutch doesn't really have much, so it will be a full day adventure nonetheless, but wanted to hop on here real fast. I know if you've watched some of my videos the last few days, you've kind of been given a glimpse into who I am and what I do, but I wanted to touch base real quick on some injuries. Really one specific injury that I've had that has kept me from working out for about 15 months now. I think my last real full go at working out, and again I was just doing strength, was May of last year, so it's been 15 months. I have dabbled and done a few workouts as far as maybe riding the Concept 2 bike and stuff like that. I've tried some leg stuff. So let's get into why I'm not working out. I've had a shoulder issue for years, really since 2019. That was my big first surgery. They did a labrum repair and a full biceps reattachment. Not because it was fully torn, but because it was on the verge, and so he went ahead and fixed that while he was in there. That was about a 12-month recovery, if not longer. I had some problems about the 4-month mark and went back in, got an injection, and so that was just a really long recovery, and I knew that. And things were going well, and in the meantime, I had hip surgery around 2021 out in Kansas City, and that was awesome. My hip feels great, but then my shoulder started to hurt again. Now, side note or disclaimer, I do CrossFit and I own a CrossFit gym. However, these injuries are more related to my 25 years of extensive tennis play. I started playing tennis when I was 7 years old and played tournaments every single weekend. That was my life. Played college tennis. And so moving from a single sport into a multi-sport, which would be CrossFit, I had these injuries well before that. I remember I've had my shoulder manually rotated back, my right one, when I was 14 or something like that at a tournament. I remember that. I remember at another tournament, somebody working on my hip. There was a lot of problems there. So just, I think CrossFit gets a bad rap sometimes because, you know, things that we might do aren't what normal people do, but not everyone does them. Okay, so these injuries that I've incurred are something that's been brought up from the past and from years and years of just beating my body up on the tennis court. So let's move into it. So I was kind of thinking about when I had surgery, and then this video popped up. So I want you to watch this video. This was August 2nd of last year. So check this out. All right, guys, a little update. It is about 2:55, and we just got home from Wichita, and basically what he went in and did was, he said there was a bunch of inflammation around my sutures that were still there from the surgery in 2019. So I had built up a lot of inflammation and some scar tissue, and then he cleaned out a spot on my rotator cuff but did not have to repair it. So all in all, short surgery, minimal things that he had to do, which is awesome, which means recovery won't be as long. So best case scenario that you know could have happened. So I'm pleased with that. Already feel better, like in my neck, as far as hopefully some of that going down. So I'll be hooked up to the ice machine for a couple of days, and catching up on some YouTube behind the scenes, which is nice since won't be doing much. But yeah, so that's kind of the deal. Like I said, best case scenario, no major repairs, just a good old clean out and scrub. So yeah, start PT on Friday, and just keep you guys updated as to how things are going. All right, see ya. Okay, so that was me, you know, just a couple hours after having shoulder surgery last August. That was August 2nd, I believe. And my hopes were high, thinking that we had really fixed my shoulder so that I was going to get back to being able to lift weights, do what I love, coach, doing all those things. It wasn't until about a week after I had surgery, and I was under no restrictions. I was out of my sling in about 5 or 6 days. Again, it was said to me that you saw in the video, just cleaned up the labrum, the rotator cuff. They did shave down the humeral head a little bit and removed a stitch. Nothing to be worried about. I was under the impression told by the doctors that I would be working out and back into the gym in about 4 weeks. I'm not saying we're lifting heavy, we're going crazy, but at least back in the gym doing some stuff. I noticed about a week and a half after that I could not move my arm away from my body. So my arm was just pinned here. I could move it forward a little bit, but I could not move it backwards, and I could not move it to the side. This raised a real big red flag, especially in PT, where I was not doing any movements yet. They were stretching me, they were doing some ART stuff, wondering maybe if my shoulder was just locked up, but unusual to see after I was given no restrictions. So 5 weeks went by, and I'll tell you, just first off, I did PT for 8 months. 8 months, and we'll get into that in a minute. So, about 5-week mark, I went back to the doctor and showed him, like, my arm is, like, messed up. I'm getting all these nervy sensations. I can't move it away from my body. Everything hurts. Like, what do I do? And, you know, giving me an exam and stuff like that, he basically, and I was disappointed. He basically said, "You're doing too much." And at that point, I realized that he didn't have my best interest at heart. He was not there to help me anymore. It was no way it could have been his fault. And again, this was very, very nervy. I knew that as long as my arm was pinned to my side, I was still very strong, but then I couldn't move it. I was trying to move a plate one day, and it got too far away from my body, and, you know, the plate dropped. There's just certain things. I couldn't pour a cup of coffee. And so at that moment, I realized I will not be back to him. He basically put me on a steroid pack for a week and then put me back in my sling for a week. So that was, let's see, I had to write some notes because this is so long, so bear with me, right? So that was September 5th, I went back to see him, okay? In September 11th, I went back to my primary doctor and said, "Look, I need to figure something out. This doctor I don't feel like is going to help me. What do you suggest?" And he was going to look around and see. So I went back to him on October 13th, still with the same issues. He noticed there was obviously a problem with my arm. So he ordered a nerve conduction study, like a test, to see if there was a pinched nerve, if there was a cut nerve, if there was something going on. So in the meantime, I decided to go out to see another doctor here close to us in Pratt, Dr. Miller. He had seen me before for my shoulder. And at that meeting, he went through some tests and said, and he's awesome. Dr. Miller was awesome. He looked at me and he said, "Kiddo, I don't know. You obviously have something wrong with your arm, but I don't know what that is." And so that was very, very disheartening, walking away from that appointment and still not being able to move my arm and have my arm function at all was very, very disappointing. So I asked him at that appointment if there was any way that it could be my neck. Okay, you notice in my video I said that my neck feels better. My neck always hurts, okay? And it's like always one of those one wrong moves away from my neck going out where I'm looking at the floor for 2 weeks. Those of you that have been members at my gym or that are members at my gym know that you've seen me staring down at the floor and you always say, "What? Is your neck out?" So you guys already know. So I always feel like I'm one wrong move away from that happening. So we ordered an MRI of my neck, and that was on December 20th, okay, of last year. Got an MRI of my neck. They saw that there was a couple of bulges in my neck and cervical stenosis, okay, which led not only my chiropractor and the PT people to believe that, you know, where those bulges were at, that it was compressing on the nerves C4, C5, C6 that went down into my arm, and maybe that was the issues that I was having. Okay, so some good news was that I was like, hey, like at least maybe we figured it out, you know what I mean? Now we're on track to get ahead of all of this and get in with a spine specialist. So I contacted a spine specialist. I wasn't able to get into him until January 26th, so I waited. I still stayed in PT. I was in PT twice a week, every single week. So I got in with him on January 26th. He said, "Let's do a neck injection and see what that does." Okay? So by the time I got into my neck injection, that was March. Okay? So we went from January 26th to March 6th, right? I got my neck injection, and I had to wait 4 or 5 weeks to schedule an appointment with him again so that I could see what the neck injection actually did. That appointment was set for April 5th, back at the spine specialist. Okay? I was supposed to notice a difference about 2 or 3 days in, and I knew that that wasn't it. I had no relief whatsoever in my arm. It changed nothing in my arm. Heck, it really didn't even change anything in the way I felt my neck, which was kind of strange for me. I thought, hey, well, at least my neck's going to feel better. So when I sat down with him on April 5th to talk about that, he said, if it was your neck, I would have expected for you to be in here swinging your shoulder like, man, my shoulder feels great. That's not the case. It's not your neck. It's your shoulder. I remember walking out of that neck appointment on April 5th, getting in my truck and bawling. And those that know me know that I'm not a very emotional person. I don't cry. But that was very, very tough for me because I'd spent so long with the hopes of being able to get back into the gym and work out. And to hear that news that now it's like, I've got to start all over, was very, very deflating. It was a very, very tough day. So on April 5th, I had PT. I went in there and I told them the situation, and they said, at this point, we have to discharge you from PT because nothing that we're doing is working. We're not getting you to where you need to be, so let's stop PT and wait to see what happens. You know, at that moment, I needed a break. I needed a physical break. It was wearing and tearing on my mental capacity, my emotional status, just everything. I was done. And at that point, you know, April, I host a competition here in-house at my gym, and that was April 20th. And this was going to be our 5th year, and I needed to be on my A game for this. This competition is run really, really well with the help of my members and a lot of pre-planning, and I knew that I needed to run another successful competition, and I just needed a break to make sure that I was on my A game and ready to go and provide these people what they paid for. So that was April 20th. So I took a break from doing anything revolving around my shoulder and my arm, which was a really dark time for me to not do anything and not have any answers. So that being said, May 17th, I got in. I scheduled in April, but I didn't get back in to see my primary until May 17th. At which point, he said, I'm going to get you a referral into a shoulder replacement doctor in Kansas City. I don't believe you need that, but you need eyes outside of where you're at. So he did. He got me a referral into a doctor out at KU Med. That appointment was set for July 8th. Okay? So in the meantime, I did have an MRI of my brachialis, which was under here, to see if there was something compressing down on here that goes into my bicep and things like that. So I had that MRI done, knowing that if there was something that was pinching or bulging down in here in my neck, that I might be able to not go see the shoulder doctor. Anyways, that came back negative, so off to the shoulder doctor I go. That was July 8th, I got in to go see him, okay? He ran me through some tests and said, we clearly see that something is wrong with your shoulder. Got all my history and everything like that. And it was nice to hear this, like, look, you've really been through the ringer the last, year, and you've done everything you can. You're right where you need to be. Okay, so that was nice to know. He ordered an MRI. He wanted to see a new MRI of my shoulder and everything that had been going on as far as from the past 2 surgeries and things like that. So I came back. I had an MRI on July 17th, another one. So this is 3 MRIs in the span of 15 months, okay? Went and got an MRI July 17th. And that MRI showed that there was suspected torn labrum, a full thickness tear in the supraspinatus, which is part of your rotator cuff. I thought I have a lot of pain in here, which is around the AC joint of the shoulder. There's basically degenerative changes to that, but that's super painful, like right in there where you touch. And then post-operative changes to the bicep tendon. So all of that being said, that was what was supposed to be fixed last August, and to come and find out that the MRI that I just had showed that's exactly what's wrong with my arm is very, very frustrating. Okay? So that's pretty much where I'm at as of now. I have an appointment tomorrow morning with the Kansas City doctor to go over options, to see what he wants to do with my shoulder. I'm praying that at this point, I'm all for surgery. I'm ready to go. I don't know what else is going to get me to where I can lift and work out and just do normal things. I love to play golf. I love to shoot guns, okay? I love to do outdoor things. But not only that, just I haven't been able to throw a ball since 2019. I want to go play catch with my kid. You know, it's not like I can't do things underhand, but I just want to live a normal life for me. I'm 42 years old. There's no way that I feel 42 years old. I still feel fit. I'm still in shape. I'm just not in the type of shape that I was. Before I had my surgery a while back, a year ago, I was sitting about 145, 150 pounds. And that was just straight strength. I was in shape and I felt good. I'm down to, as of this morning, I'm down to 132 pounds. Okay. A lot of you might say, well, that's awesome. 132 pounds. I'd love to be 132 pounds. Okay. That's not for me. Okay. I want to have, muscles. It's not that I don't, right? But it's just not the physique that I want. I still have abs, right? But that's because of my diet. Okay. So, I just wanted to give you guys an update. You haven't seen any really workout videos of me because I haven't been working out. I've tried to do multiple things, and at the end of the day, it just causes me more pain than I'm willing to sit through. So I have to take myself out of that situation and just be as patient as I can. It's been 15 months, okay? But being as patient as I can to make sure that I find the right doctor who is willing to invest my body and get me back to where I want to be. So, that being said, I know that was a lot, but, I just wanted to give you guys an update. That's where I've been. It takes an emotional toll to not be able to do the things that you love as far as working out and fitness and things like that. And on top of that, I run a gym, and so I see people come in every single day that get to work out, that get to do this, that are losing weight, that are building muscle, that are doing all the things that I want to do, and I have to sit back and I love watching them succeed, but it's hard when that's what you want to be doing. So,